paranormal. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. Tonight, you will hear from the people who live and work within these highly active locations, all in the efforts to discover America's most haunted. With your host, ghost hunter and author, Dan Terry.
Good evening, boys and ghouls. I am Dan Terry, your ghost host with the most haunted. And let me tell you guys, first off, I do have to let you know, for those who keep in track, the shirt I'm wearing tonight is from Poe's Tavern in Sullivan Island, South Carolina. Great food if you ever get to one. There's like 3 of them around. But the atmosphere is all based on his short stories, Edgar Allan Poe's short stories, and it's the place is just so cool. So what I was going to tell you, though, I was talking to my guest, and my guest tonight is Jill Brooks. And she formed, boy, I am going to butcher this. I cannot remember how to pronounce it exactly, but Woostah Paranormal out of Worcestershire, we'll ask her, Massachusetts. And she's had her own experiences with a nor'easter that came through and apparently really did havoc on the yard and such as that. But we were talking before the show started, just trying to get to know each other a little bit. And my microphone shut itself off. It muted itself. My hands were up. I wasn't touching it. It muted itself. And when I got back on the screen, she was gone, and her computer would not let her get back on. She had to start all over. And she had just finished telling me about the ghost in her place that's pushed her husband and knocked him down and has caused her problems. There's a lot going on this episode. We're going to get right to it. Pardon me. Let me introduce you to Jill.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Jill, can you hear me this time?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're in good shape right now.
All right. Good.
If you heard the introduction, I was just telling them how my microphone killed itself. Your computer tried to stop you from talking to me. But you've got a spirit in your apartment, apparently, that's attacked you and your husband.
I think there's more than one here.
Okay.
I know there is.
You think they're strong enough?
There's 2 here that are good.
You think they're strong enough to come here? Well, let's see. What is that? A good 800 miles away?
Maybe.
And mess with my microphone?
Who knows? I mean, we're both using electronic. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was messing with mine. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, something.
Maybe it shut off my, I don't know, muted you from mine. I don't know.
No, it was mine. I had to redo all the microphone stuff. I had to go back to the beginning and redo the settings. So
wow, that's strange.
Yeah, never.
That stuff happens like with my sister and I together too.
You were saying that, yeah.
Yeah, lights will flicker, things won't work, and then somebody else will go over a little while later and it'll be fine.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
It got me too. So
yeah, it's very odd.
Strong stuff.
When I was a kid, both my sister and I, we were very, very small. She might have been like 4 years old, and I was probably like 6. And that was her first experience with seeing an entity. And we were living in a 3-decker that my grandfather owned. We lived on the 2nd floor. Mm-hmm. And they moved her into her own bedroom finally. And we both woke up at the same time that night and saw the same entity at the same time.
Yeah.
And like now in hindsight, I know it was a lower level elemental. So like, I wonder if I still have that lower level elemental attached to me.
Mm-hmm.
I do psychic readings too,
Yeah.
and I've seen it. I've seen it.
Jill, I was talking to someone, last week in an interview, and they brought up the elemental thing. Now, I am not an expert on that in any way. I'm not an expert in the paranormal. I've just been doing it for a long time. I've always been told if anyone calls themselves an expert, they're out to get your money.
Yeah, no, I'm
But,
not a pro at anything.
but he brought the up. For me, elementals always bring up the images of leprechauns or fairies. What are they?
Well, that's what they are. Well, they were a lower level demon. They really, but they're not like, like you see on The Exorcist. It's not that The Exorcist. They're like, yeah, they're tricksters.
Okay.
They play tricks on you, and that happens here all the time in the house. We'll
You were
put something
saying,
down, and we'll go in the next room, come back, that's gone. We'll look everywhere in the house for it, and then we'll come back, and it's right there.
are these things, do they look like what our image of a leprechaun or a fairy
Well, this
is?
didn't look like that at all, actually.
Okay.
It looked like more wolf-like. So what it was exactly, I mean, I don't know. I was very young, but we both described the same thing. It had red eyes, and it had a long snout. It reminded me of like a white Anubis.
Okay.
Very strange.
Yeah, sounds like that.
So I don't know what it was, but I think that it was a lower level, some kind of elemental. Leprechauns are really bad.
Are they?
Yeah, they're not a good thing. They're not like everyone says. They make you pay them. Or they're gonna hurt you. If you don't pay them, they're gonna continue to hurt you.
There was a place in West Virginia that has something, and I can't remember what they called it, but they said it was an elemental, looked like a cat, acted like a cat, but it could crawl up walls and all around, and they said that was an elemental.
Yes.
What kind
I'm thinking that's what I encountered. I wish I could have found those pictures. They're actually on my Worcester Paranormal Investigations page.
Okay.
I also it freaked me out so bad I sent it to all my friends. At first I thought it was a monkey. It looked monkey-like, and it flew from my roof down into a tree.
Okay.
Now that wasn't the first time I seen it. I was walking through our back courtyard, and I seen the same thing. It was crawling up a tree. It had a really long tail. At first I thought it was a squirrel. Then I was like, was that a cat? But no, it was like holding on to it like a monkey type thing.
Mm-hmm. These folks said it had been attached to their family for some time. And as long as they let it stay there, nothing would happen. When they tried to get rid of it, fires started.
Well, that's the thing. I started trying to get rid of this thing, whatever this is.
Okay.
And I've been having more and more problems. Yeah, mentally, physically. I've been sick. And, it seems like him and I are fighting. Like it's affecting our energy that way. Very negative, very heavy.
Okay.
Makes you lethargic. But I think that thing has followed me. And I think that I think it came from God's acre. So my mother used to live across the street from God's acre.
Yeah.
They bought that land, I believe, from the Worcester Land Trust. They built a house on it and farm. 7 brothers and sisters, and my grandmother and grandfather. And they all died at the age of 60. None of them could stay married.
Mm-hmm.
All of them had substance abuse problems, mostly alcohol. And the house burnt down to the ground.
Wow. Now they
don't even have an explanation for it. My mother said that her father at the time thought that it was arson.
Okay.
But when they went in and they investigated, they had no cause. Well, Solomon Parsons deeded that land to God.
What is the story behind that area?
Well, I think he was like a Mennonite. I wish I looked up. My memory is so bad right now. I just got out of the hospital. I believe he was a Mennonite, And what happened was he turned into like a doomsday cult thing. He brought all his people up there, and from what I understand, they died up there. And I don't know if it was like a suicide pact or if something else happened. Because at that time too, there was a lot of fighting going on between Native American people and this land. There was a lot of fighting. The other thing, I used to live on Foster Hill in West Brookfield.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a Native American slaughter across the street from my house there.
Well,
so yeah, it's like an interesting area. I think a lot of people don't know how much history actually is in other parts of Massachusetts besides, say, Salem or Boston. You know, Salem, though, I gotta say, Salem, I had probably the worst experience ever.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, we went on a ghost walk, and it was it the vampires, and I think it was a vampire ghost walk. And the guy that did it had a really top hat, and I was really excited. I love going on them because also you pick up a lot of history when they tell you everything about where they are. And they know what they're talking about, you know? So we got to the place where, oh, geez, he was a reverend. His daughter was the first one to claim that someone was a witch. And then her friend, to her sister, they claimed her. Then he claimed that, well, when you claimed that somebody was a witch, you had to go through trial too. So they locked them all in their little cells. Now, the cells in the jail, there was only they stood up in there. They couldn't sit. That's how small it was. And he said, but when it rained, the water would fill up in there, and some people actually drowned.
Wow.
And, you know, they always say, too, that, you know, they burned witches at the stake. Oh, they didn't. They didn't do that. That's not true. You know, most of them died in that little jail cell drowning, you know, or they would do this, what they did to him. They dug a hole, they put him in there, and they put a door on top of him. And then they started putting rocks on top of that door.
Right.
Well, he lasted 3 days like that. He stayed alive. The guy was like, he was also like the meanest guy in ever. He was a nasty guy. You know, so the sheriff it was almost like, thank God we got rid of this guy. You know?
What was his name? Corbin?
I'm trying to think what his name is. I can't remember.
Yeah, I once worked with a direct descendant of his. And
oh, you are?
No, I worked with a guy who was.
Yeah, I can't think of what his name is. Like, I just got out of the hospital, so like my memory is like terrible. Terrible today. I mean, I wanted to reschedule that. I was like, you know what? No, I want to get I really want to do this. And we're right, but you know, story of my life. Everything happens.
Tell me
but anyway,
your childhood.
When we were standing there in the group, I felt something jump me. Now, when a spirit jumps you, I don't know if you've ever been jumped by a spirit. It goes in through your back.
Okay.
Near the base up to the spine up here. But I thought it left me. I thought it was okay. And after the walk, after he finished telling his story and all that, we went and we sat down on a wall and, you know, had a cigarette, and we were talking to the guy that did the walk. And he told me that someone else had an experience and ended up in the hospital afterwards.
Okay.
And I was like, no way, you know? Well, guess what? I went back to the hotel. A few hours later, I started having severe chest pains. It was so bad. I was like, I thought it was gas, you know, like agina. So I went to CVS. When I got there, I was looking for gas X. They didn't have it. The pharmacist comes around. She goes, you know what? You don't look too good. Let me take your blood pressure.
Right.
So she did, and it was 180 something over whatever. It was ridiculous.
Okay.
And she goes, you need to go to the hospital right now. You're getting a heart attack. She wanted to call me an ambulance, but you know I'm Italian and I'm stubborn, so I drove to their little dinky hospital there, and they called a cardiologist in from home because it's that small. You know, Salem Grind, Village, really nothing there. You know, it's like they're really little quaint towns, and they're pretty to visit. You know, it's a nice place to go. And I got in there, and they gave me nitroglycerin under my tongue,
Okay.
and they started an IV, and my blood pressure by then was over 200 and something, over whatever.
Wow.
And the pain was so bad, like I thought I was gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave me some other medication, a sedative or whatever, and the cardiologist checked me out and all that, and EKG, and I was fine. So then she said, maybe it's your gallbladder. I think we're gonna have emergency surgery for your gallbladder, and I left because then I knew it was that guy.
Okay.
It was crushed by the door, so the pain stopped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I went home, and I said to myself, I will never go on that walk again. Never, 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 never.
Now, you was telling me you've been communicating with spirits your entire life.
Yes, in one way or another. I mean, you know, like some people, you know, you see on TV, like people talking back and forth with the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not like that with me.
Okay.
Usually no. Usually no. I'll get a word. I'll get 3 words, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll get other things like touches. Sometimes you get an inappropriate touch. That happens to me a lot. Usually it's unexpected too. You know, like yeah, I've been grabbed. You know, my hair. I was doing a video. Oh yeah. I'll tell about that in a minute. So what was I saying? I forgot. He wanted to tell me to tell. He wanted me to tell you about something else, but
you was doing a video.
I was so my ex-husband died recently. He's the daughter of my father, and he's never been to my house. You know, we continue to be friends for, you know, she's 33. We've been friends since we were 11 years old, and he died suddenly,
Mm-hmm.
and he was in my house.
Okay.
And I think he's lost now. I think he's gone now. But when he was here, I was very overwhelmed.
Okay.
I could not stop crying. Could not stop crying.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is he really here? You know, I have tarantulas. So I was over at my tarantulas. I was looking in one night, and I looked at my peripheral view. I seen a man standing there. And when I turned, he was gone.
Okay.
And I knew right away. I knew him. You know, when you just know in your soul that I knew it was him.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was him.
Any
so I
idea
went and
why?
I got my pendulum out, and I said, if this is Roman, you know, spin to the right for yes, or if it's not, just spin to the right no.
Mm-hmm.
And at first it did nothing, you know, and then it went in like a maybe position. And I said, I yelled out, I was like, bro, cut it out. Either you're here or not. And then it swung over to yes. It like pulled over to yes. And I got really freaked out. So I went outside and I took my cards out. And, you know, I wanted to see, because a lot of times with this particular, well, that's a particular deck I use. I use this Ghost and Spirit deck.
Okay.
And they communicate, they channel through that.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to bring it anywhere that there's some kind of negative demonic activity. Usually I only open that deck outside.
Okay.
I don't even like bringing it in my house because I don't want to bring anything else in my house. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I opened the deck and it said, yes, it was him. Yes, that it was angry. It said that he was angry that he didn't get me back.
Okay.
And then he was angry that when he did have the chance to get me back, I just left.
Mm-hmm.
It's like giving up. But we stayed friends over the years, and he said that he was upset that everyone was so upset that he passed away, and now nobody's talking to each other everyone's angry at each other because he's dead.
Okay.
And he didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I guess this is not just between my daughter and I, it's between something's going on with his family too. I don't know.
Mm.
That's the way it looked. And then there was a question. All of his friends thought that it was a suicide. So this is strange. Roman died on the same day my grandmother died, December 27th. And my mom died on the 27th too, but it was in March.
Okay.
And my daughter was born in 11/27. So I think there was a big message in that.
Sounds like it, but I would have no way of figuring that one out.
Well, you know, I did figure it out. It took me a little while.
Okay.
At first, I thought it was like a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say my divorce was final on the 27th?
No, you did not.
Oh, that's the other thing. My divorce was final on the 27th of December back in 1996.
Okay.
Now, I didn't even remember that. So my daughter had brought back, she went through his belongings and she brought this bag of stuff back.
Yeah.
And in there was a birthday card. There was a ton of them that he'd written and he never sent to me. And one of them said, it was on the day of our divorce, and it said, "This was the worst day of my life." And I just lost it right there.
Right.
You know, because regardless if we were divorced, we were friends, and I still loved him. He was my best friend, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Even though we weren't married, even though I wasn't in love with him anymore, he was still he was my go-to guy, you know, even if I needed help or anything, he was there.
Yeah.
So like that really hurt, you know, when I seen that. And then when he wouldn't leave, I literally stood here one night and I was just yelling at him to leave, that he needed to go and be with my daughter to help her heal. And he didn't go. He didn't stay here until I did those cards.
Okay.
And mind you, I do not read for myself.
Uh-huh.
I never pick up those cards and look for me. No. I did that once, and when I seen, I was like, okay, I'm good. I don't want to do this anymore. I'll read for other people, but not for me. You know?
Well, yeah.
But here on God's Acre, I wonder if that's why he was able to stay here as long as he could, because there's so much energy here. And it's just a lot of negative energy. We did an investigation in Building 80 over here, and we picked up 13 spirits, and we shut off the ghost box.
Okay.
Because the last one was coming out. It was so demonic. We don't know what it was. And the Solomon Parsons came through. We heard his voice, yes, and he was talking. We got something in a Native American, it was like Nipmunk, or I forgot. He looked it up, what language it was, Chris.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I wish we had those tapes. It would have been wonderful. You know, a woman was speaking in Portuguese.
Wow.
We had another voice come through that said, "I'm shot." Well, it turned out, Chris looked it up. Somebody got shot and killed by the police in front of that building.
Okay.
I guess he was selling drugs or something out of that building, and it was like a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came out, they shot and killed him. They had a gun in his hand. Yep. But also, we had satanic activity up here in God's Acre.
Okay.
And recently, I was walking to my car with my husband, and we could hear a ritual going on. And it was very, very loud.
Okay. Was it people doing it, or was you hearing
it was
something
people
that had happened in the past?
Oh, no, it was people doing it.
Okay.
There's been several murders up there and suicides. That's where they found that woman burnt out in the car.
Mm-hmm.
They never could recognize her. They could never figure out who she was.
Wow.
They found another one on the other side of God's Acre. There's a few different entrances. You know, there's one entrance over here by my house.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one over on, I think they call it Parsons Way. Parsons Road, which used to be Airport Road, but whatever. It's called Parsons Hill.
Okay.
Now we call it Airport Hill. but technically it's Parsons Hill. I never knew that until I started looking this up.
All right.
And in there, that's one of the. It's like Worcester's little secret. Also, like in there is it's totally untouched.
Okay.
It hasn't been touched since Solomon Parsons and his people died.
Which was 100 or more years ago, right?
Yeah, more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than that. And I want to say it was in the 1700s.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very long time ago. And they have like rare nut trees in there, and it's a very difficult climbing hike too. You have to be in shape to go in there. It's not an easy thing.
Okay.
But most people in the city don't even know about it. I grew up here. I didn't know about it until I moved here.
Okay. All right. Jill, would you hold on just a second? Because we got pictures you sent that I want to
Okay.
show. But first, I have to show something else real quick. I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
All right, friends, we're talking to Jill Brooks, and she's got some stories. A lot of them we talked earlier and got a bunch. And I've got something I want you to take a look at. So stand by. All right, my friends, as you can see, Next Network is packed with great shows like this. Paranormal, cryptids, Starspeak, that is Zodiac and things like that. We've got a lot of UFO stuff. We've got anything you can imagine, any kind of weird world you want to look at. We've got a magazine. We've got an annual conference, which will be in Springfield, Missouri again this year. So we'll talk later about you guys becoming members so you can kind of keep up on some of that. But I want to get back to Jill because these stories are really incredible.
Thank you.
Jill, I want to start out with a couple of the things you sent. And let's start out with this video. And I'm going to show it and then have you explain it, and then we'll show it again, okay?
Okay. Did you hear it at the end?
What was it we was listening for?
It was a woman's voice. You didn't hear it on the wind? It was like very, very, like a whisper right into the wind.
Okay, let me try it again. Okay. What do you think she was doing? What do you think it was?
I couldn't make out what she was saying.
Right.
That's why I need more equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I need equipment of my own.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
that's why I had Chris, because Chris, between the two of us, we picked up so much.
Right.
Usually I said things to him and he'll analyze it, and he'll pick up right up on what I got. Usually, whatever I pick up, he actually finds on his equipment. So that's what I need. I need that validation. you know, because
Well,
if not, then
hopefully,
everyone thinks you're batshit crazy.
we have been in this long enough to know that almost everyone has personal life problems. We have to give it up, step back, and then they usually come back in. Hopefully, he'll be coming
Yeah.
back in soon enough.
Well,
Okay.
it's kind of good too because I've had, some health problems, and so
Mhm.
it's kind of good for me to take a break right now,
Sure.
from it. But I'm dying. And you can't just do it though. You know what I mean? I'm
Mhm.
still doing my readings and that. Sometimes I feel haunted.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure. Sure.
Because it seems like no matter where I go, there's something.
Okay.
And I don't want, like some people, they want to, and it drives me crazy when people want, like, oh, I want to be a medium.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, I want to be psychic. I want to know these things. There's a lot of people out there online that want this. And you know what? It's like, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. I will
You
see that.
know, it
Yep.
is.
I worked with a couple of sensitives and would not take their abilities for all the money in the world. I
Yeah, no, it's
don't want to
difficult.
see it. I don't want to see and know what those folks see. A good friend of mine named Tim that worked with me a lot got chased out of a Walmart by a ghost who just
See, now that's
ran at him,
me.
screaming at him, "Why are you here?" until he stepped out the doors. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's not something I'm looking for. You had a good story about this candle.
The thing exploded. Exploded. It scared me so bad.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if you noticed, it's on my knee.
Yes.
It exploded like that on my knee.
And what had happened on that one? Because you said there was some
It's
other.
I was talking actually to the person I was giving a reading to, and I
Okay.
was telling her what I felt was going on. And the candle got brighter and brighter, and I showed it to her, and I said, "Look, I think that's validation. The candle's getting bright, right? Because that's very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
The candle is just like that, And these are the same kind of candles all the time,
Okay.
So I know it's not the candle itself, I've never had one explode. It wasn't a candle holder that was used more than once either.
Mm-hmm.
I buy the candle like that, and it just. And
Just.
I said, "Well, I guess that's your answer."
Mhm.
I think it is a no. And it was. It ended up what she asked me was a no.
Okay. Okay. Wow. And then this one, there's a face in the window above you.
That is a very haunted place to work.
And
Um, I had an experience there too, and shortly after that, I quit for another reason. But I'm kind of glad that I did.
okay.
All right, so this is a good person right here. There's a priest that was in the church. If you look behind my head,
Okay.
something kept following me around.
Okay.
That was when I was a supervisor there, 11 to 7. And it's a program for women. It's called St. Cecilia's Church. It has a long history of odd and tragic happenings.
Okay.
There was a cross burnt on the front lawn of that church. It's a Catholic church.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Leominster. And that building that I was working in was a, what do you call it? Like a nursing home for the nuns, a
Okay. Yeah.
convalescent home.
Uh-huh.
And there were two priests. There was this guy who's good, and then there was another guy. And I don't remember what his name is, but he's listed. If you look it up, the story online, he is listed there. The bad guy, the bad priest, he was the one who was molesting all the girls and
Okay.
abusing them physically in the school, the girls' school.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the good priest
Okay.
that everybody loved. So I was getting followed by both. First, just the bad priest.
Right.
And then I didn't realize this priest died, this one right here, died right before I got there and started
Okay.
working. So I never met him. But he liked me. And then you can see he's smiling. I don't know if you can open it up. I'm on the 3rd floor, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that's inside the room. That's not outside.
Okay, and then you sent me a picture of him, I think. No?
That's not it. Yeah, you might have came first. Go.
You did, but I apparently lost it somehow. Weird. I've never lost anything before. I have
You're
to
kidding me. You sure it's not there? Go back. It's got to be.
No, I got
No
that
way.
one, this one, and that
Oh,
one.
what a bummer.
Yeah, but folks, you did have a picture of the priest. It was in his obituary, and it did look a lot like him. Boy,
Well, I'll tell you what, that
your
when
spirit is
Chris is
wild.
the one who found the picture for me, okay?
Uh-huh.
When Chris found that and sent it to me, and I was at work when I got it, I looked at it and I just knew.
Right.
I knew right then. I said, "That's him." I
Okay.
could feel it. It was him.
Well,
I
it
think he
looks
was protecting me from. I think he was trying to protect the girls from the other thing that was there.
okay.
That other priest, I think that was his new form.
Yeah.
Sometimes when someone who is not if you know, like when you die, like the way I see it is you are who you are. You turn into who you were, you know?
Okay.
Like so he turned into something else. He was evil. So I think he turned into an evil entity.
Okay.
Maybe he had a possession in life and then brought that with him when he passed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's there. And I'll tell you, one of my clients had a heart attack. The rooms you could smell from it would travel from 4 different rooms.
Okay.
And maybe that was the 4 rooms that he was hurting people in life. We had one patient and she had a heart attack. And she said she woke up and she could see it over her. Like it was a full body of a man, but just black mass. Like,
Okay.
and she couldn't move, she couldn't do anything. And then, it went away and she started screaming for me. So I'm running in there and she said that she thought she was having a heart attack and that she seen this thing and it was on her and she couldn't move. So the blood pressure was sky high. I had to send her out in an ambulance. It was bad. And he was attacking her for days before, and I kept telling my other supervisor that, something is going on in those rooms.
Right.
How could you not smell it? It smelled like death and sulfur in there. It was the worst smell you can imagine, like worse than a garbage truck.
But then it would disappear. And
Yeah,
go
no, it would
and move.
travel. It would
Yeah.
leave that room, go to a room across the hall. Leave that room, go to another room across the hall. Leave that room, go to the other room across the hall. It would travel. And some of the clients couldn't even stand it. They would wake up and say, "It stinks in here."
Right.
And no air freshener in the world. You could open the window, still, no, it wasn't going away. And I wanted to remove it, but they didn't. They wouldn't give me permission to.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I could have removed it alone anyway. I think I would have needed help to it. And that's the other thing. Like if I go somewhere, I don't go there to try and stir something up.
Mm-hmm.
I go there to try and identify what's there.
Okay.
And make a determination if I can clear it, or if it's something I need, help clearing, or if it's something that I can't clear even with help. I'll, give a suggestion to go here, call this person, call this person. Maybe you need a Reiki master, or maybe you need a Native American to come in and do whatever they need to do for that.
Okay.
And if there's been cases where, there was nothing I could do. One lady, I told her to move. It was that bad.
Okay.
And it is what it is. If you got to move, you can move.
Well, Jill, I can only say that I've interviewed in this last 3 years I've been doing this, 7 different exorcists. And I've never had pictures disappear from my screen before. I've never had my microphone shut itself off before.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. There's something around you, I suspect. And it's
I know there is. I keep thinking that it has something to do with that picture right there too.
I was going to ask about that. It's kind of
That was my grandmother and grandfather's picture.
okay.
It is called The Lady of Castile. Let me see if I can you see it good?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, they both passed away. And recently, all right, so my grandfather, he never came to me after he passed. And I
Okay.
was his favorite. We were like peanut butter and jelly. We went everywhere.
Uh-huh.
We did everything together.
Okay.
And I could never figure out why he never came, you know? And I didn't get a lot of my things. When I got divorced, I didn't get a lot of my belongings from my second husband. I
Okay.
have a husband collection. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not easy to love or live with, you know?
Okay.
It's hard when people think you're crazy, though, you know? You're like, and it's scary. Look what has been happening to Mark.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's scary. He really got hurt. You should see his eye. It's like horrendous.
Shoved and pushed into things and
When he came and showed me his eye was split open like that, he said, like, he got pushed down and banged his eye like that. I could not believe it.
okay.
And it targets him. Well, my grandfather might be doing that.
Now, why would you
So
think that?
I put his obituary up over on the table that Mark got rid of.
Okay.
That's where I recently just put it up there. I've never put it up in the house before. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And then
speaking,
I've got another picture over on the, well, that was the other thing that happened.
Yeah.
I have another picture here. I have like all my little crystals and all this on this little thing. And sorry, I'm cleaning for Christmas and moving things around.
Oh, you're fine.
So there's that. Do you see that picture right there? Am I getting the right one? I can't tell. Yeah. So my grandfather's in this picture with me, and there's my great grandmother, and it's a very old picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all my aunts, and then there's my gram. And Mark was coming in the house the other day, and you see all the things that are in front of it, all those little crystals, and that whole picture flew off that and landed on the floor, and nothing else was knocked over. It just flew out of nowhere.
Right. Oh, I wonder if it's one of them messing with my stuff over here. I mean, it's
Yeah, because I thought I just lost you again. It's
okay.
strange, right? That, you know, that happens to me all everywhere. So anyway, this picture looks exactly like my grandparents.
Okay.
That's what's strange. Let me see if I can find a picture of them together.
Well, I do want to spend, since you're talking about your grandmothers, to throw up this last photo you got that you believe might be her with her son. Go ahead.
Can you see it? Wait a minute.
Hold on just a
How come I can't line it up? Oh, get there. I don't know if you guys can see. Why is that? I'm going backwards. There you go. It looks like them. That's why he bought that picture. Well, I don't know if he bought it. My grandfather was kind of like, he was a little gangster. You know what I mean? You know how Italians are. It might have fell off the back of, you know, the Worcester Providence Railroad years ago. Who knows?
Okay.
But yeah, that's why he got it, because it looks just like them.
Okay.
So
Well,
I think that, I don't know, like I was sleeping here, and lately I've been sitting here and I feel cold all over me.
mm-hmm.
So something's definitely with me. You know, and that's the other thing. I've been sick, so like my energy is weak to protect myself.
Okay.
And that worries me, because I could go somewhere and have something else attached to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
that
know,
would
so
be a
I've been
concern.
trying to keep it together and you know, like keep it simple and try and take care of myself.
What about this photo you said? You said there was a history to this one.
That's my cousin Vanessa's husband, and that's his son Franco.
Okay.
Franco was my grandmother's favorite grandson. This was the first Christmas after she died. I took that picture. And let me tell you, nobody's ever smoked in that house. It's my dad's house.
Okay.
They absolutely no. And that was in the living room. I think that mist was my grandmother.
Okay.
Yeah. When I took the picture, I didn't even notice. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't until later on I went back and I looked at it. And it's weird, like I'll pick up things and I won't even notice until later on
Mhm.
that there's something there.
But there's often family shows up, especially family get-togethers. The
Well,
deceased
not
family
always,
still shows up.
not always. I wish. I'll be other places and there's this store Bling Bling downtown on Main Street.
Uh-huh.
And he likes to go in there and they have like those scented oils and stuff and you name it, they got everything in the store. Kind of like a like one of those weirdo dollar type stores.
Sure.
Things aren't that expensive, but you get some nice stuff in there. And I walked in there. I had to turn right around and walk out. I've never been back in the store again.
Okay.
I vomited. I can't even tell you how hard I vomited. There's something very, very evil in there.
Does that happen often?
Yeah, like if I stand next to someone that's evil, I'll know they're evil.
Okay.
Sometimes people don't want to believe me because people don't pick up on things like I do. And I think a lot of it where I think everyone has a gift, what they call this gift, but they're so distracted with their cell phones, with whatever they're doing around them, instead of paying attention.
Right.
They don't. If they really sat and focused and learned how to ask and then, speak to spirit, the worst thing you can do is ask a spirit what their name is.
Really?
Well, give it a name.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I'll let them tell me who they are.
Okay.
Well, with Roman, I said, is it's Roman?
Sure.
If I know who I'm asking for. But if I don't know who I'm asking for, no. I'm not going to ask you to just tell me your name. Because it could tell you something else, and it'll be a lie. One house I got to go back to because I actually got someone who asked me to get something out of their house. They want me to see. She has a little daughter, and the daughter is special. She has some. I already know. I met the kid. She definitely has some kind of gift. It's one little girl, and she has an imaginary friend there, and the mother doesn't think it's good.
And what do you think?
I did a walkthrough on the house.
Mm-hmm.
The child wasn't there when I did the walkthrough that time.
Right.
When I got to her bedroom door, I felt like stop. Something did not want me to go in there.
Okay.
So I didn't go in. Because I wasn't ready to push through yet. I didn't have anything with me to help me push through.
Okay.
But I will go back and push through and see what's there and remove it. I'll try and record that moment too. So that I can send it to you. Maybe you can post it at a later date or something.
Yeah. Well, what I want to do is bring you back to talk about the witchcraft stuff because you kind of threw that on me at the last second.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that. You mean now or next time?
We'll talk about it more next time, but basically,
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
What's the basis of it?
Well, when I was younger, my mother got into it. And she did it more like kitchen witchery.
Okay.
Making spells, positive things. I do positive things.
Yeah.
During my early teens, she went dark. She went real dark. She started doing like hoodoo.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Well, that's good.
I believe that everyone should know their right and their left hand. Yes. You should know how to protect yourself just in case.
Mm-hmm.
But I only do that with, if it's necessary. Because if you do that and it's not necessary, it's going to backfire on you.
Did your mother ever come back from that darkness?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, she died at 62.
You was telling me earlier most of your family has passed at the age of 60.
On her side, yes. They all have. There's one that's alive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Jack, and he is paralyzed from the neck down from multiple sclerosis. So he's in some kind of nursing home down in Florida somewhere. I can't even tell you, like, not a single one of them communicated with each other their whole lives after that house burned down. That was it.
And that
They all
comes
moved far away in different directions.
Does that all come back to the God's Little Acre again?
I think so. I think it's a family curse.
Okay.
A generational curse. No one is supposed to use that land. It was deemed to God.
Mm-hmm.
It was deeded to God legally. So they should not be selling it off. They should not be living on it.
Right.
And they definitely shouldn't be doing satanic rituals on it, especially if it was a holy land. It was supposed to be sacred.
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that was sacred land to whatever that Indian tribe was.
Okay.
That may have something to do with it.
There's
they're
a lot
very
there
spiritual people, and if something is that sacred, usually whatever they believe in is going to come and protect it. Okay. So maybe it's something like, I don't know, it could be a skinwalker. Who knows? They're not just in Arizona, you know what I mean? Or Nevada or whatever.
Right. Jill, how do people get a hold of you if they want to need help?
Well, there's a little message button. Just send me a message. Send me a message right on the Woostah Paranormal page. I also have a psychic readings page where they can hit me up there. It's called Call of the Raven Psychic Readings. It's on Facebook also. And then there's my regular profile. I'm on Instagram also.
Okay, but you got
Facebook, my same name.
You got Facebook under Woostah Paranormal Investigations.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Jill, it's been a fast hour, but next time I'm going to have to wipe my microphone and computer down with holy water or something before I bring you back.
Yeah, something. Like Mark got sick. I don't know. It's probably like a month ago now, but he was acting bizarre in the house. Like not himself.
Right.
Like I seen like his face would change. I was like, something's definitely going on here. So he said he wasn't feeling well. He went to bed. And I went in and I said, "You okay?" And he's like, "I don't know, I really don't feel well." And I touched his head. He seemed fine. But when I leaned down to give him a kiss, I had put my hand on his chest. It was burning up.
Okay.
I never felt that before on him. He doesn't even sweat, he's not a sweaty guy. And so I went, I took his temperature just to be sure first. It was normal.
Okay.
So then I said, you know what, this is something else. So I took my salt and I put it all around the bed. And I literally did an exorcism prayer that I use on him.
Right.
And I laid hands on him also. I gave him a Super 7 crystal to sleep with that night. And when I came in the morning, because I didn't sleep in there with him, I left him like that. The carpet was soaked around the bed. I was like, what the heck? I mean, it was like you could, it was like that wet where you could.
Wow.
Yep. And he was fine. But the sheet was all soaked too. And he's not a sweaty guy. Like he never sweats on the sheet.
Okay.
Well,
it sounds like living in your house is an adventure by itself.
Yeah. And like I've done everything that I possibly can to keep it cleansed and, keep it protected. I moved out for a little while and I moved back in and a lot of my stuff that I usually have here, I put crosses near the doors.
Okay.
Just so that nothing can come in. Like I make, I make boundaries for whatever. Like if they step past here, they can't step past here. I make a line, boundary. Yeah. And that's why I do my readings outside. I have a boundary there at the slide.
Okay. All right. Well, Jill, I do have to go, but I hope you'll come back and we'll hit that witchcraft thing up some. I want to hear more about that too.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Jill, take care.
Fun time.
And thanks for coming on.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Have a good one. And Merry Christmas.
Too, Dan.
I know by the time they see it, it'll be after Christmas, but Have a good one.
You too.
All right, my friends, I do want to hit up real quick because I let that go on a little long, but I was intrigued. To join up, you go to unexnetwork.com. Go scroll down a little bit on the opening page, put your email address down, and what do you get for all of that? Well, you get access to the X blog. And let me tell you guys, the X blog is burning up because we've got, oh my Lord, cube-shaped UFOs showing up. We've got more Navy pilots coming back, military people coming out and saying this. We've got somebody in the U.S. government stopping us from getting the information. It's incredible what all's going on, and it's all logged up there. It all comes down as it happens. You'll hear about it. There's a newsletter that comes out, and also monthly is the Unex magazine. You get it if you're a member for free once a month, sent directly to your email address. And this one, the one on the left, was October, about a year ago. There's stories on there about the battleship North Carolina. There was UFO stories. There's time travel. Anything in the ghost or paranormal world is covered, and it's all free just for putting your name down. So I want you to go ahead and get onto Unex Network, sign up, check it out. You'll be grateful. And other than that, I think I'm going to have to go. My time is just about up. So you all stay cool, stay warm, and I want you all to stay spooked, okay? Good night.